Call this meeting to order. This meeting has been properly advertised and posted in accordance with Public Law 75, Chapter 231.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Amen. Our city clerk is out sick right at the moment, so we're going to take the next best thing, and that's Judge Moore, who's our chief financial officer, who also holds an RMC as in registered municipal clerk. So Judge, I'll have you do a roll call.
Mr. Barbato.
Here.
Mr. Buchanan.
Here.
Ms. Gibbons.
Here.
Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mayor Vanessa.
Present. I'm going to make a motion to open the meeting to the public. Second. All in favor? Anybody from the public? This is Councilor Grant.
Hi, I'm Judy Casagrande, 111 Head of the River Road. I have some good news. The Citizens Group now has a name. Better Together, the Citizens Group of Estell Manor. Our vision is that we focus on seeing the good in everyone, expressing our concerns directly and resolving them with respect, contributing our time to provide and support community events, spreading joy wherever possible, even with just a smile, and making this vision a reality. Our values are that we respect each other and our diverse opinions, the diverse opinions of the community. We strive for honesty, compassion, and kindness, although it is a huge work in progress. Copies of the minutes of the April 5th meeting are available. Can I leave some on the table out in the lobby, Mayor? Is that great? If you would like more information, my phone number and email address are there. The next meeting is May 22nd from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. sharp at the Risley School. But contributions to the agenda and all ideas are welcome. So even if you can't make that meeting, you can just get in touch with me, email me or call me, and I'll include your thoughts in the discussion. Thank you very much.
Anyone else from the public? Mr. Bowman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Couple of questions about the agenda. Under new business, use of City Hall.
When we get to that portion of the agenda, Mr. Cerny is going to give a legal opinion about something, about the use of the city hall.
Okay. And community information mailer.
Community information mailer.
Those are the three words.
That's we're going to be sending out a notice for the bulk trash day, cleanup day, whatever, and if there's any other pertinent city business, please belong to that. Yes.
Okay. For where it says change to committee assignments, I would recommend that you take a look at the Faulkner Act when it comes to the difference between legislative committees, which would have the sole purpose of bringing things to the attention of city council after having been worked on, where one person would have the full authority to make those appointments, or committees that are in some way or other delegations of council authority, where by any other measure I would submit would have to be a vote of the full council to change your operating procedures, otherwise known as rules of order or bylaws.
I mentioned at the reorganization that we were missing one member of council, so I did say that these appointments are tentative. I didn't say that they were set in stone, and I did indicate that there was going to be some changes once we had a new member come on.
Okay, well, if it's simply that, I thought what you had said was simply the new member was going to take certain vacancies. If there's other shuffling to be done, then that may be a different discussion. I'm just lifting that up. And then finally, the part on the risk management consultant, because as the previous company's contract ended December 31st, 2017, from my understanding of how that reads, that would mean that there is no risk management consultant at this time, that the bylaws of the JIF require the municipality to have one. And the two people who responded to the request for proposals, one is willing to do all the work, has a track record of attending the JIF meetings, responded to, I guess it's 28 out of 28 points, and is charging less than the other one, which is only looking at doing a third of the work, charging more, and has a track record of not attending. So, and those are facts regardless of who brings them to the council's attention, because it's the same thing like 2 and 2 equals 4. If the 6-year-old tells you that, or the math professor tells you that, 2 and 2 still equals 4.
All right, Creed, did you get your point? 'Cause you're-
I'm just saying that I would hope that action one way or the other would be taken this evening to resolve that issue, and that that would be based on the merits rather than on emotional issues. Thank you. I think I did.
Thank you. Anybody else in the public? Motion to close the public portion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Next, I want to get down to the engineer's report. Michael,
Okay, good evening.
always good to see you here.
Nice to see you guys as well. Okay, the 2018 CDBG application was submitted to the Atlantic County Improvement Authority on the 27th of March. And based upon the outline at the meeting we attended in February, they should have an answer and a determination on whether this project was going to be accepted. It was last year, so I don't foresee any issues with this, but that's just a formality. And then once we have approval for that project, then we'll move forward. If you want to still go with the walking path or modify that, this application simply just secures the funding for the 2018 fiscal year. Closeout documents are being processed for the work on Walker's Forge Road. Kentucky Avenue, the plans were submitted to DOT. We received some comments, made those adjustments, and set a due date for May 2nd, which is a Wednesday at 11 o'clock. At the following week, you have your council meeting. There we'll have the bid summary, and then council can make a decision to do a recommendation award, submit to the state. And probably within 4 weeks or so, we'll have a pre-construction meeting and then get started in early summer on that work. On the 2018 project, Honest John Road, we completed the field survey. Currently working on the drafting of the existing conditions. We'll get into the design plans and hopefully have it up to the state within a couple weeks. And that may be a late fall project for the city this year. Have several paving projects completed by the end of this year. And then lastly, at last month's meeting, we were given direction to go for a discretionary aid fund application on 12th Avenue. There were some items that need to be set up on the state website, the SAGE, that my secretary was able to get a hold of Linda yesterday. That
What
is
is SAGE?
SAGE is the electronic program that the state requires all municipalities to use for submitting. It's a digital format. There's no longer paper copies going in or requesting funds for the local aid. Everything's done on the state website and it's known as SAGE. So that's being processed, and probably by the end of this week we'll have that up and in the system, the queue with the state, and it'll be under consideration.
Yeah.
That's everything I have on my engineer's report for this month.
So the discretionary application, can you give me an approximate time when you sent that in?
Sure, I'd say by the end of this week, it'll be in the system,
By the end of the week, it'll
By
be
the end of-
in the state
in
system.
the state system.
Gotcha. Anybody with any questions? Mike, there's another issue that we were discussing earlier, and that is there's a municipal road that was in fact, some improvements were done to it with millings. Where do we go with that? Because you didn't get any certification from the finance or the DEP, and it wasn't authorized for your office.
That's correct. Mary gave me a call and updated me that Pacific Avenue off of Cumberland, it appears was improved with millings. Based upon the aerial, it was a dirt roadway. I went out there this evening to check, and it looks like for about 1,000 feet towards the dead end, millings were installed. Millings aren't an approved surface course to be installed on municipal roadways. There are provisions in the state regulation that it can be used as a base course, but however, if it's utilized as a surface course for a municipal roadway, in order for that to be the final surface course, it needs approval by the DEP. In addition, it's also located in the area under the Pinelands jurisdiction, and since it's over the disturbance area of 5,000 square feet, it does require approval from the Pinelands.
Okay.
So those are two items that would need to be addressed. One, if in fact it is even permissible in the eyes of the DEP, and then two, the necessary application would have to go through Pinelands, and then they would have their review, and they would have a determination whether or not they feel that there's an increase in runoff, in stormwater, and then appropriate measures would need to be taken to offset that increase in runoff.
Mr. Mayor, do we know who authorized that?
I did not, I rode by it 2 days ago and I noticed it, and I asked our public works guy if he knew anything about it, and he said no.
Okay.
So the question is there any member of council that knew anything about it?
No.
Because
My knowledge.
I know Al's right next to your house over there. You didn't
Yes,
notice anything?
and there are a lot of houses alongside of my house.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about the municipal street, not houses.
Don't ask me a question.
Is a member of the,
So you're saying
I asked, did you know
I
anything
gave-
about it?
No.
No, you're alluding, I asked, did you know anything about it? That's all I'm asking. Yes or no?
You want my answer again?
That's my question. Did you know anything about that road was being done?
It's still no.
is, since I am on the Public Works Committee, that was never brought to my attention, nor was it ever brought to Mr. Wagner's attention, to my knowledge. I have no idea who would have authorized that. Nobody, to my knowledge, nobody on this council authorized the issue and the installment of those millings on that road.
And this is a road that's usually not taken care of by anybody, except the people who live back there. No one else normally takes care of that road.
It becomes
The
like a
city-
safety issue.
Even though it's a city road, the city doesn't do squat with it.
Well, in the past, when the Micklers lived back there, we had always maintained that road for them. We graded it, and we had plowed it for snow.
And how long ago has that been?
Maybe 10 years ago.
Now, you said this is a
17
years. What is the time frame that it needs to be covered? Like, is there like, it can sit there for a year and then it's gotta be tarred over?
I'm not aware of any of the specific provisions on that.
Okay.
It's just states that it cannot be utilized as the final surface course.
Right, but there's no time frame. Like, it can sit there for 3 years and then be finished. We don't know a time frame.
I don't know the time
Okay.
frame, that's really not outlined in the
Right, because
specifications.
they
but-
put it down when they do roads, and it might take a month or two, but there's no time frame. So if it's down, it might still get finished. We don't know that, correct?
But we don't
Well, I don't know
have
who
a
it's.
But
a
it's
munis-
not-
It's a municipal street.
Not this year, that's correct. Not this
Not
year.
this year, but it might get done next year. We might apply for it next year, and the sub base is already down, so that already saves the city money.
Well,
I think the issue is that it was placed on the road without the permission of this council or the city.
So there's
Well,
been
if
many,
we don't
there's been,
maintain
there's
the
been,
road,
Pardon me?
there has been many loads of gravel put on that road
Exactly.
without the approval of the city.
Right.
I know fire
Well,
trucks
gravel-
can't get down there, and ambulance can't get down there, so it becomes like a safety issue.
The gravel, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, the gravel actually meets the DOT and the Pinelands
It's approved.
approved, as
Gravel
approved substance.
or dense graded aggregate.
Right. Then I can see what's not having a problem with that. With this issue, according to you, that there's a problem with the Pinelands, and they don't approve that particular substance.
The DEP,
The
there was actually recent legislation passed by the Senate regarding the RAP, and that's still not permissible use as a surface course. And it clearly states if it is going to be the final surface course, it needs sign off by the DEP.
I guess the reason being is because if it's millings, you have oil, antifreeze, gasoline, it spills out onto the roadway. And that's why they don't want that to be used as an acceptable road unless it's sealed over.
They want to seal.
Let's come up with a solution to the problem. What are we gonna do about that issue?
I'd like to hear from Fred. I mean, it's actually looking like it's a legal matter here because quite frankly, there's road work that was done without the city's approval on it. There can be some environmental concerns in which now maybe the Pinelands will say, well, why didn't you do something about this?
Why
That
don't we
becomes
try to
our
find out
responsibility.
who put it down there first, and then see if we can have it removed?
Guess, Mr. Spielman,
Sealman.
I'm sorry.
I put it down there. Probably 3 weeks ago, the ambulance came back there and my neighbors had an issue and they were stuck back there because it's a mud pit. I've been maintaining that road for 17 years. I'm tired of driving in a mud pit. The fire truck can't get back to my house and burns down. I'm gonna be a mad son of a bitch.
Yeah, but still, you gotta get permission from the city. You can't just say you make an improvement on a municipal street. That's what you need listed on.
Didn't think it was an issue. I've been doing it for 17 years. And never said anything or thought about doing anything back there.
Municipality could apply for approval.
We're faced with a situation there. that,
I'll pick every pebble up. I don't really have a problem with it.
As long as you can buy.
But then I want to pay it.
There you go.
We don't have that.
I'm trying to save taxpayers' money. I bought the millings out of my pocket.
The issue is because there was no authorization from the Pinelands, because they don't have that as an approved surface cover for the permanence of it. Now we face a legal issue. We could actually, in fact, be fined. We could, God only knows.
Or you could go for approval.
You know, the Pinelands are funny people, and they don't like to have their toes stepped upon,
I
and that's what we're
understand
looking
that.
at over here. I mean, had we would have had something asked, maybe we could have prepared it done a little bit better, but because you just simply did it out on your own, now we're on the hook. It's a municipal street, and the Pinelands will come down on us. That's what we're looking at.
Mr. Seaman, can I ask roughly how many yards was put down?
2 triaxle loads.
2 triaxle loads?
Yeah.
Where did you get that
That's
from?
probably
And can I ask,
36 yards.
maybe the engineer can answer this question for me.
It's
From
from Triaxle
triaxle
Road,
loads
which is
of
2
of
miles
crushed
down the
stone
road.
that would be approved, will be cost approximately what?
It's typically between $6 and $8 a square yard for 6 inches of TGA.
6 to 8?
6 to 8, dollars a square yard.
How many yards in a triaxle? Or is it
Around about 18.
I think it's 18 cubic yards.
18 yards? So we're talking about 36 yards?
Yeah, we're comparing volumes in the area. It's, I think the cubic yard typically runs about $25, I think it's the conversion, $25. And then 25 times 18 times 2.
Fred, what do you recommend that we do? I mean, this is somewhat of a legal issue here now at this point.
It is a public road. It is there. It is a process that the Pinelands Commission needs to approve. So, I mean, Mike, am I correct in saying that that normally Pinelands would want an application before this were done?
Correct.
So they would then approve it or provide whatever guidance needs to be provided to make it right.
Mm-hmm.
And under the circumstances, Mayor, Council, it may be that you would authorize the engineer to basically go to Pinelands, explain what has happened. I mean, Mr. Seelman had good intentions, but we do have this problem, and see what the Pinelands proposes as a resolution. At least then, by doing that, we at least are engaging the proper regulatory climate and proper regulatory agencies. I don't think that we can avoid that. Avoiding it would only cause greater problems down the road. So my suggestion would be communicate with the Pinelands and see if they have an approach or a potential solution to help us get through this.
Okay, and if that process is, say, cost prohibitive, I just did a quick calculation, we're talking about $900 worth of stone. It may cost us more to go through the Pinelands than it would cost to have stone put down on the road in its place.
There's another question that I want to ask the engineer. What if that was seal coated with like when you normally do oil and stone project, would we just put it over the top of that now?
There are provisions where you can use some sort of emulsifier over top of this, but
And that would seal it, correct?
that would seal it. Then I think you then run into the issue that we have had on Fifth Avenue, where now you've increased the runoff and the Pinelands are gonna wanna see drainage calculations and how you're,
There's no wetlands that's identified within that area, is there? Or is there?
I haven't reviewed any of the USGS or any of the GIS mapping to be aware if there's any wetlands in the vicinity. However, you still have to comply with their comprehensive management plan that outlines specific guidelines for addressing runoff. And depending upon the impacts, you may have to, provide inlets and basins and things to, help accommodate the additional runoff created from going from gravel to impervious. And that's their, the extent we've run into in trying to get Fifth Avenue paved, which is a gravel road, and we went in front of the homes at the far end, did that one, small section, because we stayed under the 5,000 square feet when we did that paving project. Is something that, they typically don't budge on and are gonna want to see their regs adhered to.
Plus, one of the other things that we've always done historically is any roads that we do, we apply for a grant. When we get the grant, then we'll do the road, so it doesn't cost the municipality, except for just the engineering, so this is something that's much different.
I think my question would be the cost of the permits and to straighten the situation out with the Pinelands. Can you do that for less than $900? In your
I
estimation?
don't have that fee schedule in front of me.
But Michael, if we just put stone down there, do we have to do anything with Pinelands? If we just put stone on the road?
Not stones, no.
You would have to notify them because you're over 5,000 square feet of disturbance. I think the road's approximately 1,000, and then by 10 or 12, that puts you over that threshold. So they need to be notified, for this work one way or another.
Well, but the stone isn't sealing anything.
If you're disturbing the area, you're under that. You're disturbing. It's over that threshold of 5,000. I mean, to be.
Forgive me for saying, but I don't see where there's a disturbance. You're just simply putting stone down on the roadway. What are we disturbing?
Well, if you're gonna remove and change the grades, I mean, there is some impact there.
I got a feeling that you and Mr. Cerny are going to have to talk about this matter a little bit more once you figure out what we need to do with this, but maybe we're not in the position to make a decision tonight. It's out there now at least so that, we've rectified that we did not authorize this, we did not partake in it. So the city is somewhat not gonna be liable for what's happened.
Well, you still have the issues you have to take care of, and maybe we could look into the possibility that maybe we may have some funds available in capital at some point for $900 worth of crushed stone to alleviate this problem.
I don't have an issue with that, I really don't, but you have millings that are already there, I can find out if in fact we could just simply seal coat that with oil. If that would be acceptable with the pinelands.
Or if Mr. Seaman is willing to remove what's there,
He had good intentions of doing what he did, he just wasn't aware of what the ramifications would be, and
if he
now,
would remove it, could we put the stone in there then?
You could put, I'd put the dense graded aggregate down.
Exactly.
but what about finding out first if we can just simply oil it? So that way there, we already have a surface that's there.
You're still gonna have to go through all the permits, because now you have that surface.
I'm aware of that. I am aware of that, but at least we already have a sub-base there. That's the point that I'm saying. You have something there, you did a good job with it as far as
Mr.
this
Seaman,
level.
tell me how thick the surface is,
Not that thick, actually. I was gonna put 2 more loads over, to be honest with you,
where you have about
but it's probably 2 inches.
2 inches,
You can still see
So
dirt
that's not
on it,
gonna
it's not
support.
really.
a good one on Stone Road anyhow, 2 inches is.
Would you have access to get more buildings?
I have 2 more loads in the yard.
You do have. I mean, that's just another option if we can. I guess maybe, Michael, if you explain the situation to the Pinelands that, something got out of our control, it was put down, couldn't be sealed, what do we do? To speed up the process.
I would recommend reaching out to them, and then I'll bring that information back to council next week.
Just hope this doesn't open up a Pandora's box.
If at all possible, like, you email that to the city clerk, as soon as you can, and then you can start that process rolling for the next meeting.
Sure.
Perhaps a little less after
Anything else, Michael?
All I have.
No more ambushes. Very good. Stay focused on them on that. Moving down the road here, we have some resolutions. Good night. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
We have some resolutions here. We have 40, 2018, certification for the compliance with the Equal Opportunity Employment Commission. I'll make a motion. Is there a second? Second.